day 2. So day 1 was yesterday. And what did we do yesterday?
We went to the most fabulous wedding ever.
We did.
Of our beautiful Kimberly and our wonderful Adam. And they combined forces. Well, officially, legally combined forces. They already had combined forces.
I was going to say, they combined a while ago.
Yeah. But it's officially now.
As the official said, they're officially married now.
Yeah.
Or whatever her ending thing was. Kimberly Dawn and Adam Fuel. If you know Adam, he is in New Defective. He plays Izzy Stradlin in Dust and Bones, GNR tribute, and he's also the, what would we call him, co-lead vocalist in Menace.
Yep.
So yeah, between those three, you should just know Adam because he's awesome, and Kim is also awesome. She's a beautiful soul. She works in some sort of medical.
She's a CNP. They have started their own office.
Yeah.
Now.
I saw that.
Just like look up Dr. Kim, and I can't remember the name of it, but it's like a together with medical and holistic kind of, both kind of therapies, both kind of medicines together kind of thing.
The best of both worlds come together to heal the world. And so they had it at what was it? Rockwoods in Otsego.
It's Otsego still.
Because we passed. Yeah. Again, a place neither of us had been.
And I don't know how I haven't been there before. I mean,
And it is like full service restaurant and event space, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
That's what I can figure. Beautiful place. And they had the actual ceremony outside, just off the patio on this like little lawn, surrounded by bushes and stuff.
Like
really,
garden,
really nice.
And,
really, really pretty. And again, for being, July in Minnesota, you couldn't ask for better weather. It was absolutely gorgeous. Like not even like windy or anything. It was like perfect. Which shows their power because they can bend the weather to their will. There were traditional elements to the ceremony, obviously, but so few and so many non-traditional elements that it all kind of fused into one beautiful thing. Like even the music on the aisle, they played a love song by Tesla, which I thought was really, really cool. And it might have been, I don't know if it was the original version or like an acoustic version. Maybe the original version is an acoustic version, I don't know. And then, even the music they were playing beforehand was just excellent picks. And I'm sure it was all picked by Adam and Kim, but excellent picks on the playlist, guys. And so they did the ceremony and very small wedding party. It was them and 2 other people, pretty much, that were standing up, at least.
Oh, yeah.
At the ceremony itself.
At the ceremony, yeah. They had their flower girls. And
they had the flower girls.
Little ring boy, oh my goodness.
Ring bearer who did not want to walk down the aisle.
He was so cute.
He was, he was having a moment. Well, we got through the ceremony, and it was...
It was perfect. They really had, you could just tell that was their ceremony because they made it just so unique and just them. And I just thought the whole thing was just kind of their free spirit kind of a thing because I expected to see seating arrangements and they didn't have any seating arrangements going on.
Outside of the first 2 rows.
Yeah. And then even when you go into the dinner, there's no...
Oh yeah, there was no table markings or anything. Yeah, it was just...
Yeah. That is not a real po-po.
God, I hope not.
5-0.
Or I kind of hope so, because that'd be awesome.
They don't advertise themselves like that. They hide. They try to hide and be sneaky. Oh my goodness, that's hilarious.
Anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, just very free. Oh, and then you were still on the ceremony, and I'll let you continue with that. So.
Yeah, and the two things that they did, I mean, a lot of things they did were just cool. The vows were good and all that. But the two things that they did that I had never seen at a wedding before, I don't know if you've seen a wedding before, was right before the vows, or right after the vows.
I think it was right before they read their individual vows.
Yeah, yeah. The officiant. Thank you. Which is someone Adams knew forever, apparently.
It's a forever, yeah. But friend.
Yeah.
Still. Like,
co-worker that became friend. Yeah.
Yes.
Asked the family to stand up, and then basically said, will you? I forget her wording. It was so perfect.
It was like just basically like be there for them and
will you
help them?
Be there for them and hold them to this covenant that they're entering into or whatever. And if you do, say I will.
Yeah. That's right.
So they did it with family, and then they did it with everybody else, with all the friends. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool. I kind of like this. And even the wording of the vows, when they did the ring exchange. I don't know if that's different than the vows, but again, I'm not a huge wedding.
I don't know. It kind of all rolls itself, but yeah, ring exchange.
But just the wording on that I found cool, because it wasn't, do you take this man? Do you take this woman? It's, do you? Will you be
Kimberly's husband and faithful and this and that?
And it was like something, do you agree to enter into this covenant of marriage or whatever it was? And I'm like, okay, that's really cool too. Because again, if you know me, you know I'm not a big religious person. I'm not a big wedding person. I'm not neither of us are. So I mean, and they did do a couple of readings from the book and all that. No, the first one I was more in tune to. Like that one was less about the Savior being your be all end all, and just more about commitment and love and all that. And I'm like, okay, I can run with that. And then the other thing they did, which I've never seen done, which if you have a small enough ceremony you could do and it really make an impact, is after the ceremony was done, the rest of the wedding party, went with their thing, and then Adam and Kim came down and released every row one by one, so they could individually talk to you and thank everyone that was there.
As their joint now married form.
Yeah.
Yeah, as their as husband and wife.
Yes.
They could greet everyone.
Yes.
That entity.
Yes.
Oh, that was really cool.
That was
probably
probably one of the coolest things I've ever seen in a wedding.
Getting all sappy, I want to cry again. Just having tears. But yeah, no, that was just so touching and beautiful and just.
And it wasn't a quick, hey, thanks for coming, hey, thanks for coming. It was like they took their time and they talked to every single person that came through, and that was awesome. That whoever thought of that idea. But we were talking on the way home after the ceremony. I'm like, yeah, that's great, but if you have a wedding of a couple hundred people, that wouldn't work, because that would take forever.
That would be the reception.
That would be, because everybody that got released would go and eat and then go home, and then you'd just cycle through, and then you'd be left with the last row of people and the wedding couple. Yeah. And I mean, it'd be a nice intimate dinner.
You get to really party then.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's just, that was really touching. It was because it's like, and it's like we are kind of, I think we're all kind of a family. We're it's just was touching the whole being kind of included in the vows, and then being greeted afterwards it's just like you just feel like, you know, like, oh, they, you know, we know they care, but it's like they really care, you know, and they're just, yeah, it's like they're married now. This is their, you know, this husband and wife thing, and you get to greet the world now as husband and wife, and but yeah, it's like, you know, and even though it's like I thought every person looked familiar pretty much, even though I suck at names and sometimes think I've met people and I haven't, or sometimes forget I might have met people that I have, and I'm dumb like that, but like you just felt all just family, like just even whether you really knew them or not, you still just felt connected and comfortable with all the other people.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree.
They're just so warm and inviting, like Adam and Kim, that, you know, you just can't help but just
and all of the joy and the love that they have kind of radiates to everyone they come in contact with.
Oh, always. It's always been that way. They're always.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, as we say, it was just really good vibes in that place. It was just really, really. Yeah, and as she was saying, it's like I'm looking around. It's like, okay, everybody under the age of about 60 looks like a musician. I should know them, and half of them look really familiar, but I don't know if I know them. I mean, a couple I did, and we'll get to that in a second. And yeah, I mean, a couple of them I recognized right away, obviously. Derek, obviously, I recognized right away. And Spit, who's the other vocalist in Menace, him I recognized right away.
Jason.
Jason took me a minute.
I'm sorry, Jason, but you look ever so slightly different just about every time I see him. I have literally not realized that it's been him. Like, it was a few years, like 2-3 years ago, that like I literally didn't realize it was him. And like at first, like one of my friends was like, "It's the guy at the bar that keeps making funny faces at you," and I'm like, "What?" And then like I went over there to get something. He's chatting me up, and like took me. I'm like, "Oh shit! I know.
Shit, yeah.
Oh, I know who Jason, you are. Yeah. Like, hey, how's it going? You know?" And it's just like funny, but yeah, you know. And it sometimes people look different when they're stage dressed versus real normal people clothes, you know, too. So depending, but yeah, it's like there's so many people that look familiar, and you know.
Yeah, people look different except for Adam, who freaking rocked his white suit.
Oh my gosh!
White shiny shoes, white on white paisley shirt.
That was gorgeous.
And the pink paisley tie. Oh my god, dude, it was awesome.
That was just and the colors.
Oh yeah.
The colors of the wedding were so beautiful. Like the like accents for Adam was, you know, the pink on the white, and then Kim's dress was this beautiful like magenta pink, beautiful dress, flowy and gorgeous, perfectly her, and beautiful but still flowy and free at the same time, and then her reception dress was just a beautiful, sparkly, gorgeous pink, but it's a muted pink, like a soft pink. And then for the bridesmaids, and then the flower girls had a little more of a pinky pink.
A little more pink, but it was still very like subdued and muted, but still
gorgeous. I'm really glad I didn't wear my neon hot pink dress that I was thinking about wearing.
She would have clashed with Kim a little bit.
Which Kim would have probably been like, "Oh, no big deal."
Oh, she would have laughed. She would have thought it was great.
She's just
she
sweet,
would have thought
wonderful.
it was awesome.
But I would have felt like
you would have been like, "Oh."
But I did have a spare dress in the car, so I probably would have actually changed. I'm like, "Oh shit, I'll be back. Where's the bathroom? I'll be back." Yeah, this car is a little tiny to try to change it now, so I mean I could still do it, but it would be different than like my Lumina or something.
Sure.
Lumina. I don't have a Lumina. I am Paula. Hey, we're almost in Wisconsin. Wait, no, where are we? Yep, we are almost in Wisconsin, guys. We're almost in the middle of the river.
There's a river.
There's a little line that I'm going to go through that's going to say that it's the Wisconsin, the Cheesehead side of the river. Right now.
And we're in Wisconsin.
And we're in Cheesehead land. Woo, which the sign says it's actually over here, but my GPS said it was back there.
Yeah. Now we're officially in Wisconsin.
Yes.
And again, a lot of people give Wisconsin shit for probably some good reasons, but I've really never had a bad time in Wisconsin. Like, I really like Wisconsin.
Yeah, I mean and then my bestie Amanda, she's Scotty, so I can't, I gotta love Wisconsin. I can't deject her home territory.
Oh, exactly. And then she's wearing her Yotuma shirt, Yotuma, and they are I believe Madison boys.
Yeah, we're really been liking them. We've kind of seen three shows by them. Something like that.
I think 3, 4, something like that. Yeah. It's been a few. Yeah, they're impressive.
Oh yeah, maybe it's been three or 4. Yeah.
It's been at least 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, distraction.
Easily distracted always, but yeah, the colors were just gorgeous, and
and just the ceremony. It was just long enough. Like, it wasn't a real quick ceremony, which I usually like. I usually like a 5-minute ceremony, just in and out. But it wasn't like, it was probably in total, because they started a little late, it was probably in total 35, 40 minutes maybe, give or take. So a good, and again, they kind of kept it moving, and there wasn't a lot of,
but they're just so
like,
adorable, like together.
Yeah.
Even their, you could totally see their connection, like just how they interact with each other, and giggly, and but still serious. But they can be just free with each other.
And not to mention, when they finally got to the "You May Kiss the Bride" part,
oh my goodness,
Adam just dug in, man.
Oh,
just by
so
the head and just like, yes, sir. That's the way you do it.
He approves. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that was a very passionate kiss.
Yes, it was.
Oh yeah. Yes.
For a second, I was like, "Do you need us to leave the
vlog? I hurt your eyes. Oh my."
We'll give you a minute. It's cool. So then, perfect. Yeah, and again, the weather just beautiful, and just oh my god, like one of the cooler weddings I've been to in a long time. And then we get to the reception. So we go in, and again, this place, it's a big place. It's a really nice place. I mean, felt very fancy. Yeah. But again, walking through the bar, it felt like a small town bar. And then you get to the other side, and it's like, oh, this is like an actual hall. Auntie's fancy. First stop was, of course, the bar, because that's the first thing we ran into. And so we got a couple of drinks that were on the provided list, which I was confused about for a second. And she got a Pinot
Noir,
which
dark
was good, bad, average.
Oh, it's good. It's about what I like. I mean, I'm a Chianti and Merlot girl, but it's a dark red wine, a little dry. But it's good. It was good. It was a good wine, good red wine.
And then they had 2 beers on tap. They had a Mick Golden Light, which I know Derek was drinking, and probably had about 4 of.
It was a long day.
It was a good
time, so.
Then the other one they had was from Lupulin, and you remember us talking about Lupulin, and it was the fuzzy mullet or fuzzy mullet,
something or the other,
which was a very citrusy, I believe, IPA, but it's not as IPA-y as other ones I've had, and the citrus did a lot of the heavy lifting. So that's pretty good. I wound up having 2 of those.
Which I was shocked, because I thought for sure he was just going to get a white wine or the other beer for the second drink, but yeah.
No, it grew on me a little bit. Not that
it was refreshing.
It was it was
like,
very
nice,
very citrusy. And I think I tasted both orange and lemon in there. So yeah, it was good. It was good.
From the sip I had of yours, I would say.
And then so we went into the room, and that's the other thing, which makes Adam and Kim the coolest couple ever
Mhm.
is that, and we were talking about this, and because they had a live band there, which I know not a lot of people do anymore.
Yeah.
And I was trying to think of the last wedding I attended that actually had a live band, and it was when my dad got remarried in like 1989, and that's because he was a musician, so he just had all his musician buddies come and play, including me, and the little kind of band I was in at the time at 14. So they actually had a live band, and I'm like, okay, that's really cool. And it was the 70s
Magic Sunshine Band. Yeah.
Who, as you would assume, play all the hits of the 70s. A couple that I didn't recognize.
Yeah,
there were one or two that I'm like
I feel like I've heard them before, but not
enough
know
to
them really a lot. So.
But they were good. They were tight. They know what they're doing, obviously. And then it was buffet style. And let's just go through the food real quick. They had the caprese skewers.
Yep.
Which are always good.
Skewers, which is like your tomato and
mozzarella and with the balsamic drizzle.
Easily, yep.
And then they had fruit skewers with pineapple and watermelon and cantaloupe and all that stuff. Veggie cups. A little dip at the bottom, I think. And then going over to the other side. And there was another side of the room that we missed completely. Because we assumed it was the same on both sides. But because, again, there was no...
It was just kind of like...
instruction. It was kind of a free-for-all, really.
Come on in, sit down, make yourselves comfortable, which is great.
Which is awesome, but it's like, you need a little bit of hurting.
A little wrinkling, yeah. maybe, yeah.
Just enough to know there's food on this side, there's different food on this side.
Which, I mean, when I look back, I should have figured it out, but, I mean, I'm not starving by any means, and I was very happy with what I ate.
And the food that we had on our side was very, very good, which makes me kind of want to go back there for like dinner or something.
Yeah, I am curious to go out and have dinner and a drink some night. Yeah, we'll have to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then they had, going to the other side, they had a little crostini.
I think it's like an
artichoke something.
Crostini, yeah.
It was very good. That was also drizzled with balsamic, I believe. That was very good. Then they had sausage stuffed mushroom caps, which I should have grabbed more of. I grabbed two. Yeah, those were really, really good. The wild rice meatballs, did you have any of those?
I did not, actually. I don't know why I didn't. I think I thought I grabbed one and I didn't.
I didn't because I don't like wild rice, but...
Yeah, I know you were going to want one of those, but... Yeah.
Okay, so that was the only thing on that side that we didn't try, was the wild rice mushrooms. I'm sure they were good. I don't know.
Oh, I'm sure they were.
And then... Was it something else in the sandwiches or just the sandwiches?
I think then it was sandwiches. Yeah.
Then they had two different sliders. They had a walleye slider.
Oh my gosh.
Which
crispy
was
walleye.
so fucking
good. It was really freaking good.
That was honestly one of the better fish sandwiches I've had in a while.
Yeah.
Like that was really super
I could go for like that for a dinner sandwich. Perfectly happy.
I was just thinking that. It's like,
because you would think, like you said, you know, it was probably catered, there, so
yeah, in-house.
It's, their food, so it's probably on the menu. You could always look, I suppose, too. But yeah, that was really freaking good. I tasted like a hint of pineapple, like in the breading or maybe in the tartar sauce. It was really good flavor.
Yeah, it was a little bit of sweetness. I didn't identify it as pineapple, but it was something sweeter. And again, I don't know, maybe it's a sweet roll, maybe it was in the batter, maybe it was in the tartar sauce. I don't know, but either way, those were really, really good. And then the other slider they had was a pulled pork with coleslaw and some sort of sauce, maybe. I don't remember. The meat itself is a little dry. The coleslaw was pretty good though. Had a little bit of a kick to it, which is kind of nice.
I didn't get that. I think I just wasn't super hungry, so I didn't get one of those. But yeah, I said you were trying it, so I figured you'd
Yeah.
tell me how it was. So.
Yeah. I mean, it was okay. The fish was better.
The fish was
Fish was-
phenomenal. It was so crunchy, but yet still so moist and delicious inside. That's like could be the best fish sandwich I've ever had.
Yeah, so again in my head I'm just picturing, picture a bigger version of that,
Yeah.
either as a sandwich or as just a
Fish and chips.
walleye
thing, or-
dinner, fish and chips in, yeah. Because they apparently know how to do fish from the little bit that we had. Though I did find it a little odd that the walleye sliders did have a piece of cheese on it.
Oh,
So they're trying to be like a fillet of fish,
yeah.
which I found. I mean, you
Well, I thought it was good.
couldn't really taste the cheese; it kind of
Yeah.
disappeared. But yeah, it was a little weird.
Oh no, I liked it. I thought it was good.
See,
Thought it just
in my
added that
mind,
extra.
in my mind, fish and cheese don't go together.
Really?
Really, any way, shape, or form.
Huh?
Like
I love them both, so I'll eat them together. I don't care.
like seafood, like you do a creamy, like shrimp Alfredo or something. That's fine. But just like throwing a slice of American on a fish sandwich that seems wrong to me.
Well, there's that cheesy fake crab bake that you can get at Chinese places. That's awesome. Have you ever had
I
that?
don't think I've ever had that.
Oh, yeah, no, it's like the imitation crab, and then there's like some kind of mayonnaise with like, I think a little bit of diced onions in there, I think, or celery, and then they put like cheese, like cheddary cheese on top. It's really, and they bake it. It's really good. It's like a hot dish. Yeah, it's so good.
Well, when you finally drag me to Supermoon.
Chinese ever take you to, oh yeah.
Yeah, because we still have to go to Supermoon.
We do still have to go to Supermoon. But yeah, that was a really good fish sandwich.
Yeah, so we give food ceremony 5,000 thumbs up.
Yay.
Food 2 thumbs up. Entertainment. Let's get into that. Yeah, because they had the 70s Magic Sunshine Band, who I had seen once before years ago, back when Famous Dave's in what used to be Calhoun Square, because I have to say that because it changed.
Yeah.
Now it's like Uptown Arts and something. When it used to be Calhoun Square, and they had the Famous Dave's in there, and they had the Battle of the Bands, because they used to run 2 a year, one in the spring, and then the winner from that one would open up their blues festival, and then one in the fall, and the winner from that would open up their New Year's show. And I'll say did a couple of those, going in knowing we wouldn't win.
Well,
like we weren't expecting to at all.
you could have still just do your thing.
And one of the rounds we got through by default because one of the bands didn't show up because one of the members got into a car accident or something.
Nice.
He's fine. But yeah.
Cows.
Lots of cows. So yeah, it was, and this is not when I was playing, and this is during my in-between stages of being in Outlaw Save. And I was just there supporting because, it's literally a, 6, 7 block walk from my apartment up to Calhoun Square, so it's like there's no reason not to. What else am I even gonna do on a Thursday? So I was just up there, and yeah, they were on the bands, and I remember them being like really good and like really tight, and they were. I mean, they were impressive. So they did a set, and then, well, earlier they had introduced Adam, or Adam introduced them, or whatever, and then he said, stick around. There's 3 more good bands coming, or something like that. And I was like, immediately I was like, okay, 3 bands. He's at 3 bands. Would he be? Yeah. So kind of for the second set, Menace assembled on stage, and so with apparently an extra guitar player that possibly that we hadn't seen before. We're not sure if he's a permanent member, if he was just like hanging out.
Maybe he was one of former members or something.
Oh, he could have been a former
I'm trying to
member.
think if they had a different person. I'm not sure. I don't know. So, and he looked very familiar.
As most people did. Yeah, because I'm trying to remember the couple times I've seen them if they've. So I think they had 2 guitar players. Maybe they did. I don't remember.
I don't know. I honestly
Anyway,
can't remember.
He didn't look familiar in that group. But they did. They went out and they did. Started out with White Wedding, obviously.
Oh yeah, I'm like, come on, words. Oh, and that was a rock, and that was a fucking phenomenal rendition of that song.
And I mean, maybe it was after all of the easy listening 70s stuff that we're listening to, and then he hit you with White Wedding,
which was the perfect song.
Which obviously was the perfect song.
Seriously.
But did you notice when the 70s band came back, they were kicking a little bit harder?
Oh yes, I totally
second set.
Noticed.
It's like, oh, okay, we get it now. We know what we're doing.
Yeah. They were a little easy listening in the first set.
Well, like, I mean, and most everybody was still eating, and like they were warming things up.
Yeah.
You know, so I get it. I get it.
Yeah. I was just kind of like, oh, like that drummer looks a little too mellow, and
So Menace came on and did White Wedding with spit singing, and it was interesting to see him so almost restrained, because the other times I've seen him, the Halloween show was kind of weird anyway, but that first time I saw him at whatever brewery that was outside, Nordic, he was like a wild man. And he was like screaming and just like,
well, that's the genre of awesomeness.
But yeah, I mean, and he sang it really well, and like, I think that was awesome.
That was really freaking good.
And then Adam got up, and what the fuck did Adam say?
Not give me 2 steps. No. That was the other. And that wasn't what he's saying, anyways.
That was how like dedicated to Kim's father.
Yeah, which is just awesome.
I honestly don't remember.
I can't think of it right now, because when you try too hard to think of something, you're never going to remember it. I can't remember.
It's gone.
Yeah, but it was really good, and it was.
I'm
really
sure it was
awesome.
good. Yeah.
Damn. I honestly can't remember.
Should have been taking notes.
Yes, we should have. Damn it, I was not taking notes.
Well,
I didn't take any pictures or anything.
You were in like.
I was in full like
non-phone
mode.
Yeah, full like appreciation mode.
Oh, yeah,
you were not in work mode.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Yep, I wasn't in work. You're right. I totally wasn't in work mode. I was not thinking anything about a review or a vlog or whatever this is or anything. So,
which is fine, because again, that's another thing we talked about on the way home. It's kind of like, for once in this day and age, we were literally just living in the moment and just enjoying it, which actually felt kind of good.
Yeah,
a little bit. Yeah, kind of nice. Anyway, so Adam did a song with them, which we have completely forgotten what it was. But again, sure, it was great. And then the next group went on, and honestly, I didn't realize it was Dust and Bones until I saw the bass player's bass with the skull sticker, and I'm like, that looks like that's Dust and Bones. Wow.
Yeah. In normal clothes. Oh no, what did you call it? Unmasked.
An unmasked Dust. If you've seen Dust and Bones before, they're a GNR tribute, and they do in full costume, and that's the only way I've seen that. I think most people have seen that. Even at sound check, the couple times we've seen them sound check, they look different than they did here. But yeah, so we got a very rare unmasked Dust and Bones performance, and of course they did Sweet Child of Mine, because what else are they gonna do?
Mm.
Because I thought they were gonna go into another song, but I'm like, okay, what else do they have that's relatively family friendly? Yeah, nothing. You're not going to follow that up with like Rocket Queen or
oh gosh,
maybe like Live and Let Die, but you know. And so that was odd. I mean, the oddest member to watch was the singer for sure, because he was doing the actual moves. He had the voice. He sounded great, but he looked like he should be selling you insurance. He was like in a blue button-down shirt and whatever. It just looked bizarre. And I ran into Spit later after their set in the bathroom, and we were walking back, and I mentioned this to him, and he was like, "Yeah, that was really weird, wasn't it?" I'm like, "Yeah, it was. It was good, but it was fucking weird." So, and then, of course, New Defective took the stage, and it turns out we were sitting with the guitar player from New Defective with Phil, and I didn't even know
you didn't recognize him?
No, I mean I recognized him as someone I should know, but I didn't make that connection. At all.
Oh yeah, no, I was Phil. Yeah, I was not in chatty mode, chatty. So yeah, that man of the legend that could play Pink Floyd in his sleep. Yes.
So they got up, and I'm like, okay, this will be interesting, because we've heard covers all night, and New Defective is,
they are no longer covers.
No longer a cover band.
Yeah, they used to do a lot.
I don't know if I've even heard them do any covers in their sets in the time I've known them.
Not for a while, no.
I don't think so.
They have for a few years now.
So I was like, okay, how is this going to play? But then it's like, oh, it's Adam. It's his wedding. It'll be fine. And they opened with
KC Girl, which is the most absolutely perfect song, because that's the song he wrote for our beautiful Kimberly Dawn.
He wrote for Kim, who I'm assuming is from Kansas City.
Yes, she is.
That would explain all the Chiefs rah-rah. And yeah, it nailed it. I mean,
oh my gosh,
really, really good.
Perfect.
And then, okay, so side note, if you're not familiar with New Defective's work, to the average listener, it could sound a little, I don't know, jarring. Some of it, like, there's some odd chords, there's some odd times. It's not like straight normal.
That might be why I like it so
very
much,
commercial.
It sounds perfectly good to me.
It's not something you would hear on the radio on any regular
They do have
basis.
a couple of songs, though, I could totally hear on, like 2 or 3 songs I could totally hear on the radio.
But I mean, just saying, so it's not.
It's very unique. It's unique.
It's very unique. It's very unique. And so they played Casey Girl from Kansas City. I don't remember the exact title. Which is, relatively straight, like pop song. It sounded good. And then they're like, okay, because I was going through their catalog, and I'm like, are they going to go into the like Animal trilogy, or like what are they going to do?
Yeah.
And they did the song called Chill, which was awesome.
Oh,
is that one on the
Chill.
album?
I think it is.
Okay, I'll have to look at that again.
But I remember hearing it before.
But it was, put to you this way, I was talking to Derek, the drummer, afterwards, and because he was asking, how it was, and I'm like, yeah, man, it sounded good. And I'm like, yeah, during the middle of Chill, I kind of like, not blacked out, but kind of, phased out for a second. He's like, that is the highest compliment we could ever give me, or you could ever give us. And I'm like, awesome.
They chilled you so much that
I just kind of, but yeah, I mean, largely instrumental and just like almost ethereal, like almost just like
it is
floaty. Oh my god, it's so good.
I love it. It's just like a rock lullaby. It's so, I really do love it.
And
it's one of my favorites.
And perfect in that setting. Like,
yeah. Oh my gosh, that was so fun.
Yeah.
Jeez, Ellsworth. I think that might be the one Amanda loves to go to. I forgot how many miles ahead sure there'll be another side too. So.
Oh, I'm sure.
We don't have we have a cooler
100%.
big, but we don't have a cooler.
Yeah.
So if we get anything, we'll have to put something cold in there to keep it cold.
Yeah, we'll get some of these back or something. But, so anyway, yeah. So then after that, the 70s Magic Sunshine Band came up and did their second set, and which again was a little bit more rocking than the first set, just a little bit. I mean, by the time they got to the end, I mean that was probably their maximum volume right there. They were just like, but yeah, I mean they were good. I made sure to throw a little tip at them.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I always forget.
It probably wasn't.
Terrible.
I probably could have given them more, but you know, I gave them a little bit something. You know, for the effort.
Yeah. I didn't even think about it, or I would have.
Again, you weren't in work mode at all.
No, I was totally
or
not.
even normal like gig mode. You were just like
in like.
You were you were in the Adam and Kim cloud of just like
awesomeness. So freaking just.
Yeah. And then the other, the cupcake, because they did not have a traditional wedding cake as we would not expect them to have because they're them. I mean, they had one tier on top, which I'm sure will be the tier that they probably. Did they do a cake cutting? I don't even know if they did. Like right at the beginning,
I think
maybe?
they might have in the beginning. Like, yeah, right.
But they didn't like announce it or anything. It wasn't like, oh, we're cutting the cake. It was just.
I kind of noticed how like a lot of people looking over and I'm like, what's over there? Oh, there they are. Oh, what are they doing?
Oh, and now
there's
gone.
cake up there. Okay. Like, yeah. So, but yeah, it was a really good cupcake. It's a lot of sugar that I'm not used to. So.
Yeah, it was absolute sugar bomb.
Really freaking good.
The cake itself was really good. The icing looked like it would be heavier. I mean, it almost looked like a buttercream, but then you took a bite and it was just this light, like almost. It was very reminiscent of if you ever got a cake from like going way back. From like Rainbow or like McGlynn's Bakery that used to be
I knew you were gonna say McGlynn's. Totally knew. I missed that bakery. They had the best stuff.
It was so good.
Yeah, I'm like, is he gonna say McGlynn's?
The sugar cookies with 5 inches of frosting on it. Oh my god. But if you ever got a cake from them, that frosting that has almost that sugary crust on it, but then like falls apart to nothing. That's what this was like.
This tastes, if I'm not mistaken, it almost, from what I imagined, that a French buttercream would taste like.
Perhaps.
I think a French buttercream
is a little bit lighter than.
Yeah. But yeah, it was really freaking good.
They were good.
I could have stole the frosting off like 3 cupcakes. I would have then I would have been dancing. I would have been on a sugar high.
You would have been dancing for about 5 minutes and then passed out in the corner.
About 10 minutes and then passed out in the corner.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yep. Yeah, that was really yummy cupcakes.
So then you were getting tired, and I'm like, we can go whenever. So we went to go say our goodbyes, and got sucked into a long conversation with Derek,
musicians,
which is not that difficult, especially when we start talking drum gear.
New drummers.
Because and we've been talking about doing this like probably since maybe even before I interviewed them. We were talking about sitting down and just doing a drum nerd discussion podcast, whatever you would call it. And again, he brought that up again, like we need to do that. I'm like, yeah, absolutely, we need to do that. And then we just started talking about drums, and he's talking about how he's trying to unload some stuff, and yeah.
We have to check the insides of your Mapex kit and see if it has the what do you see, the walnut interior? Yeah. Layer.
The
middle layer. Walnut middle layer.
Yeah. Ply, I think is the industry
ply.
term.
That's the fancy term. Yep.
I'll have to do some. Yeah. Anyway, so we were talking to him, and then because we went out there originally to talk to Adam, so to say goodbye to Adam because we'd said goodbye to Cam. So we went out there to say goodbye to Adam, and then we went out to the patio, and he was nowhere to be found because he went off somewhere with somebody. but we saw Derek, so we talked with Derek for like 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
Oh, at least.
And
Like
then
you said, that's not hard.
yeah, once you get rolling, it's no problem. And then Adam was there, so we went to say goodbye to Adam. And then literally as we're walking back in, they're finishing the night. Like they're finishing their last song. And I'm like, okay, that is just perfect. Like perfect timing. And as we're saying, it's so easy, and I think we've both been to many weddings where the DJ just keeps playing because he's paid until midnight or whatever. So he just keeps going. And you're literally down to, you, who's probably frustrated at that point and wants to go home. The people you're going with who want to hang out for some reason, and like 3 drunk bridesmaids. And then the staff of the venue is just sitting around, tapping their feet and crossing their arms and waiting for you to get the hell out so they can do their job. And this one did not. I mean, there was still a fair amount of people there when they were done. I mean, there was still a dozen and a half, 25 people, something like that. So yeah. Overall, probably one of the better weddings I've been to in a long time. That was fun. That was a good time. Yeah.
I would not have wanted to been anywhere else. There we go. That's how I'm trying to get the words out.
That is true.
Because sweet Kim, she's like, oh, thank you for spending your time with us. I'm like, girlfriend, I would not be anywhere else.
Yeah, I mean,
like if I were anywhere else, it would be life or death situation.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, I've been waiting for this day since the first day I saw them together. They were adorable, and I literally took them
together
and squished them together, like physically. Like, yeah, I did that a couple of times, and then I said, come on now, knock that off. They apparently like each other, so you don't have to squish them no more. So, yeah.
So basically, what we're saying is this one is responsible.
No, not really. They had met already. And all of that before I started squishing them, so I can't be taking any responsibility. So
credit, not responsibility. Credit.
Oh, well, either way, credit, yeah. Well, you just said that I was responsible, but I wasn't responsible, so I'm not taking credit for that. There we go.
Anyway, yeah. Anyway, it was an awesome ceremony and a pretty killer reception, I gotta say. As I said, one of the better ones I've been to, because it was nice to have live music, which again you never see anymore. B, to not just hear the same,
I do.
Well, that too.
Well, the same. Do you take this man?
The same vows, the same, and then even in the reception, you hear the same, 20 hip hop songs you would hear, with the 2 country songs thrown in, and then the waltz and the polka for grandma, and then same old shit, really.
No, we got hot legs.
We got we got Adam on stage.
Oh my God,
with
awesome.
the 70s Magic Sunshine Band doing Rod Stewart's Hot Legs, dedicated to Kim's father, which was awesome.
That was an awesome. That was so cute. Yeah, I haven't heard that song for a long time either. My goodness.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Sweet girl, caught between